Went ahead and popped into my silver dealer looking for some Walking Liberty half dollars. Asked him if he had any. He said he did. I said I'd buy them all. Hey everybody, it's Rob with RobFindsTreasure, and I know many of you enjoy when I do my junk silver purchases for my streams and for my collection. So I walked into my silver dealer and he said he had quite a few Walking Liberty half dollars. I asked him how many he had, and after we did the math and decided on a price, I went ahead and bought them all. This is $164 in face value Walking Liberty half dollars, or 328 walkers in this bag. Now, I like buying them in bulk like this for two reasons. One, I get a better price, and two, possibly maybe a better date has been missed. Now, when I said that, I had no idea what I would find in this hunt. And I could be the lucky beneficiary of that. Because there's so many walkers here, I think the first step I'm going to do is dump these out, and I'll get them sorted by decade first, and I'll give you a look at how many we have in the teens, 20s, 30s, and 40s. And then after I do that, we'll do a sort by year and go from there. Let me go ahead now, first and foremost, and get them dumped out and take a look at what we got on the table. Well, there you have it. That, my friends, is a lot of beautiful constitutional silver, junk silver, if you will, although I know many of us don't like calling it that because it's far from being junk, but any kind of silver that is under 92.5%, which is sterling silver, is considered junk. That being said, let's go through this junk and see what we got. I'll be back after I've got them sorted by decade. Well, I'm about maybe a third of the way through sorting these out. These are my 40s, 30s, 20s, a lot of teens. A teens we guess because there's no date on it, but we know it's a teens because there's an obverse mint mark, and we'll get to those later. And then some slick ones that I can't really tell the date at first glance, so I stuck them there. And we had a beat up 1949 S Benji as well. But I bring you in because looking at these dates, I saw this one ended with a 6, and I thought it was either a 36 or a 16. So I stuck it under the scope, and that, my friends, is a 1916. 1916 first year Walking Liberty half dollar. I did check for an obverse mint mark, and I don't see one. In 1916, they were putting mint marks on the obverse. Of course, the Philadelphia would not have a mint mark. So this is a 1916 Philadelphia. And the 1916 Philadelphia, while it's not the key date, 1916S, it is a much better date with only 608,000 minted. Even in G4 condition, which this is probably a G3 because of the damage. It's been cleaned, wouldn't receive a grade. On top of that, it's barely legible. But even in G4, this is a $50 coin. And I will take a semi-key date 1916 in this shape or otherwise. So first good find. That's probably the best look at the date there. We've got a 1916 Walking Liberty half dollar minted from Philly. We'll put that to the side and keep sorting. Well, we got them all sorted. Quite the load of older walkers, let me tell you. These are the 40s. The 30s are here. 20s are here. A tall stack of teens. We've got obverse mint mark, no date, and some other coins with no date that I can tell, but I'm going to spend some more time under the loop and under the scope to see if I can figure them out. We got that Benji. Now, of course, you know we already scored a 1916P. Rough shape, but I will take it. And I did see some better dates in here, but I need to take some time to take a look at them and get an idea if they're as good as I thought, or maybe they don't have mint marks on the back. That being said, we're going to kick it off with the 40s first. I'm going to run through them really fast and see if I have any of the 46 DDOs and a few of the other lesser varieties that are in there. And if I do, I'll bring it back in as I encounter them. Otherwise, we'll move past them and move on to the 30s next. So I'm bringing you back in just for a little educational information. I already checked my 46 for the double die obverses. You would see doubling on the flag and things like that on the obverse. I'm not going to get into that one. I did not find it. I'm also checking my 45Ps for any of the missing designer initials on the reverse, and I'll be checking the 42s next. Underneath my scope, I've got a couple of 45s, and Adolf Weinman designed the Walking Liberty half dollar, and you can see his designer's initials on the reverse, AW for Adolf Weinman. Now what you're looking for is the reverse of the half dollar, a 1945 Philadelphia, to not have those initials. Somehow, some way, I guess through over polishing, they were not on some of the coins struck, which makes it a desirable variety. Now I put my one that was in question under the scope, and you can clearly see it almost looks like there's nothing there. You think you see a W here, but that looks like it's just scratches. The second thing is there's some kind of machining or some kind of indentations here, and I think somebody may have tried to remove the initials long ago, which is why they don't show up. At the end of the day, the coin is not worn enough on the rim for the initials to be missing completely. And even though they're not missing completely, one would argue, because it appears as though there's something going on here, at the end of the day, we'll never know for sure. In my opinion, they have been scratched away probably a long time ago, but it gave me a little bit of a scare when I stuck it under the scope and noticed that there was no initials, at least not prominently. Either way, I'm going to pull it aside, despite the damage, despite what looks like scratch away marks. It's probably just that, but I don't see the designer's initials, and that had me excited for a second. Either way, we'll pull it aside, move on to the 42s. I'll bring in if I find something worthwhile in that stack. Well, we finished all the 40s, and unfortunately none of the 1942 Philadelphias that I looked at had the beautiful DDR. The hunt continues for that variety, but we did find some cool finds. I do think this 1947, although the lighting's not the best, is not a bad coin, as well as this 42. Pretty good detail. 43 and 44. None of these will upgrade my album, but they're a little bit nicer, and I'm just pulling out the nicer ones from every stack so we get a good look at them. Now that we've done the 40s, let's move on to the 30s next. So we finished the 30s. Unfortunately, no 36 PRD DDOs and no 39D RPMs. Those are the ones that I look for those years in the 30s, and none of those were found. We did have a couple of really nice 1935 Philadelphias. Overall, these are in really good shape for being 1935. Probably been cleaned at some point, but they have decent detail. So better than your average Walking Liberty half dollar from the 30s, and a not so bad 1939 as well. Again, not high grade examples by any means, but like I said, slightly better. I had a slight scare because I was running through these 1938s, and there are 5 of them. These were easy to see the back. This one had some kind of felt on it from being in a coin album, and on the reverse, the felt covered all of the mint mark area, so I had to use some water and get it to rub away, and of course, it's not a D. I was hopeful. I was thinking for a second maybe they missed it because it was covered in fabric, but it is not the key date 38D. Either way, it's always nice adding 5 more 38s to the collection and some beauties. Next up, the 20s. So here's the 20s walkers. Most of these are barely legible dates. Some have obviously more legibility to them. The best examples are on the top as far as being able to see the date, the mint mark, things like that, detail. Most of the 20s you'll find look like this, and I don't hunt 20s walkers for any of the lesser varieties. There is no major varieties in them, only because A, in these conditions that I usually find them in, it's hard to hunt, and B, being lesser varieties, even if I found one, the condition would make it not worth much. We also had a 23S, which you can barely make out, a 28S, and then 3 29s, 2 29 Denvers, and a 29S. Again, nothing fancy schmancy, but they do fetch more value being 20s walkers, and that always makes me happy. Since we didn't have anything major in the 20s and nothing will upgrade my album, let's move on to the teens, and these are the ones I'm excited about. All right, the massive amount of teens walkers has been sorted, and we're going to work backwards. So these are all the pretty much cold, but I was able to make out the 1/8 for 1918. These are all 1918 S's. And then the better of the 18 S's would be this one right here, because we've got a clear date and an easy to see mint mark. 1918 S. Same with this one. A little bit worse of a rim, but I can see the 1918 and I can see the S mint mark. We also have a 1918D. Only one in the bunch, but definitely legible date. And you can see the Denver mint mark as well. And then we have a whole bunch of 1918 Philadelphias. The best are the two in front. Again, most of these are pretty worn, but that's not a bad 1918 Walking Liberty minted in Philadelphia. And neither is this one, to be honest. I don't think either of them will upgrade, but I will be checking just in case. All these 1917s, every single one of them is a Philadelphia mint. I'll run through them a little bit quicker. We have varying degrees of better condition ones, but at the end of the day, they're all pretty toasty as well. But maybe one will upgrade in my album. We'll have to take a peek. The nicest one I thought of the 1917 Philadelphias was this one right here. Not terribly too bad. Moving on up even further, a 1917 Denver obverse mint mark. That is a tough one to get. 1917D obverse has only 765,400 minted. Now, it's not worth a lot, and in this condition, this is probably, based on this condition, at best a VG8. At best a VG8. I would say somewhere between G6 and VG8, somewhere in that range. And at that mark, it's about a $20 coin. Still, nice to see, and I already have it for my collection, so I'll compare it. You guys already seen that we had found a 1916 Philadelphia. Can't believe it. Yeah, it's toasty, it's been cleaned, it's rough shape, but always nice to see one. I don't think it will upgrade the one on my album, but I will be taking a peek. We also got a dateless obverse mint mark with a Denver. I have looked at this a million ways. I cannot figure out if it's a 16 or a 17. With the Denver mint mark on the front, we know it's a 16 or a 17. If it was a 16D obverse mint mark, that would be awesome. But without a date, it's not even G4. It's probably fair or poor, and it really doesn't make a big difference. Just cool having it. Wish we could have seen even part of a 6 or a 7 to make me know which one it is. And I know in certain lights you think you see something. So do I. But I see nothing. Before I move on to the 3 up here, I want to go ahead and show you that we also had a 8. I don't know if that's a 3 in front of it or anything because I can't see it. But I did notice it does have a Denver mint mark. And because it had a Denver mint mark, I spent countless amount of minutes looking at this coin under the scope. Because I thought I could see maybe a 3 in front of the 8, but I don't. It's probably a 1918D. Keep in mind, with a visible 8 and a Denver mint mark, it can only be a 1918D or a 1938D. No 28s were minted in Denver, and there is no 1948 Walker. So we know it's either an 18D or a 38D, and I highly doubt it would be a 38D in this condition. But man, we just don't know. We did get a complete set of 1919s, and all of these are better dates. We got a 1919 Philadelphia, a 1919 Denver, and a decent 1919 S. Not in bad shape. One of those may upgrade my album. So this Walker lot definitely wasn't completely cherry-picked. To the average collector, a lot of these would fill holes. Some of them are worth a lot more than melt. And despite their condition, they're pieces of history, and I'm happy to have grabbed them. I think the find overall, other than the 16, is going to be the 1919 San Francisco. I think in this condition, it's probably right around a fine 12. I mean, I guess it could be a little bit lower, maybe even a VG10. But even if it gets a VG8, a 1919S is about a $30 coin. If we got a fine 12 out of it, it'd be an $85 coin. And seeing that we have detail on some of the skirt lines to the left, and we do have some sandal detail, it's a right in betweener. Right in between a VG8 and an F12. Either way, it's a good find. I'll take it. Happy to add it to the collection. Think that pretty much wraps it up with the walkers. I mean, I'm going to run through my book really quick. I'll let you know if I upgrade any, and then I'll give you my final thoughts. All right. Fortunately, I was able to upgrade the 1917D Obverse Mint Mark slightly. This is the one from my album. The one you saw earlier is now in the album. And the 1919S slightly upgraded the one I had, as you can see. Not as pretty. Definitely happy to have upgraded 2 walkers. I failed to mention that these were all the walkers that I could not decipher any information on whatsoever, other than maybe a mint mark on the back. None of them are obverse mint marks, so they're definitely any date from 16 to 47, although judging by the conditions of them, they're probably teens, possibly 20s walkers at best. At the end of the day, we found some goodies, we found some better dates, we were able to upgrade a few slots in the album, and we've got a few items that I can go ahead and offer up to you guys on my next live stream. Hopefully you enjoyed this Walking Liberty $50 hunt. If you did, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. And as always, everyone, happy hunting, and thanks for watching.